Hello and welcome to Route 99. This is DPM 31. My name is Raj Thakkar and we're solving an RC today. Right, the RC seems like a book review, right? Let's dip deeper into it. Look at the question, the level of difficulty of the question, how we could have answered it. Right, let's get started. Following the success of Tayari Jones' 2019 Women's Prize winner in American Marriage, her 2011 third novel, Silver Sparrow, is published for the first time in the UK. Okay, so one of Tayari Jones' novel has seen some success in UK, which is American Marriage, and after which his 2011 novel named Silver Sparrow is published for the first time in the UK. It's a tale of two sisters. Okay, part Bindungsroman, part homage to 1980s Atlanta. My father James Witherspoon is a bigamist. Dana Yarborough tells in the novel's opening line before she narrates what it was like to grow up as a secret daughter, given second pick for everything, consoled only by the slim satisfaction of knowing all about her father's other family, while her sister Shoris knows nothing about her. Okay, so this book by Tayari Jones, Silver Sparrow, is partially Bindungsroman. Bindungsroman is the story of early years of a person's life, and it's a part homage or tribute to 1980s Atlanta. So in the beginning of the book, the protagonist Dana Yarborough tells us that his father James Witherspoon is a bigamist, and while she doesn't know about, she has to live as a secret daughter, and she knows everything about his father's other family, while her sister Shoris, from his father's other marriage, his stepsister, knows nothing about her. A chance encounter between two girls at a science fair wearing identical rabbit fur coats given from their double duty daddy knocks Witherspoon's two families into each other's path. So one day they meet at a science fair coincidentally, Shoris and Dana. Shoris is drawn to Dana. Okay, Shoris here is the stepsister. Dana is our protagonist as of now, whom she sees as silver. Okay, so Shoris perceived Dana as silver. By silver, she means one of those girls who looks in hair, who move in different circles than one like me. But little does she know that Dana is obsessed with her. So on the one hand, Shoris was very impressed with Dana. On the other hand, Dana was in awe of Shoris. Shoris was obsessed with Dana because she was the first preference of his father, right, of her father. Every interaction is undercut by Dana's ulterior motives. Shoris tells Dana her father smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and she responds, "Mine too." So everything Dana is saying, everything she's talking to about Shoris, there is some ulterior motive behind it. She's talking deep. She has meanings to what she's saying. So when when Shoris tells her that her father smokes 2 packs of cigarette, she says that her father smokes it too. When Dana visits Shoris' house, she quizzes her on where her father sits when they eat dinner. Her coming of age consists in large of inserting herself further into her unwitting sister's life. So as she enters Shoris's house, Mr. Witherson's for second family's house, his stepsister, she quizzes her on. She tries to know his father. She tries to enter his sister's life. She tries to find a spot for herself in the family. At the midpoint, the novel split into two, and events are narrated from the Shoris point of view. We see that although the girls have a father in common, what really draws them together is their gap, overlapping loneliness. Far from being idyllic, as Dana imagines, Shoris' life has been burdened with his own share of pain and bewilderment as a result of being born to women who got pregnant at the age of 14. So Dana idealizes Shoris' life because he is his father's first preference, but Shoris got struggle of his own. Why? Because she was born to women who got pregnant at the age of 14, probably as a result of rape. So she has her struggles too. While the novel is driven by the question of whether the two sisters can ever accept the truth of one another, it is also propelled by shrewd observation about how they survive the unsteady terrain of young womanhood. That time when a man looking at you can make you feel chopped into pieces. So they have their own struggle, and the question remains whether they would be able to accept each other's truth, whether they will be able to accept each other. But there are some subplots as well, which talks about young womanhood when there is a lot of male staring, which makes them feel uncomfortable. This book is as moving, intimate, wise as an American marriage. It's this book, 2019 successful book. It is just as good as this American marriage on the topics of marriage, family, and womanhood, and deserves similar acclaim. So author believe it is just as good and it should be praised equally. Let's move on to the question. Okay, which of the following is not true about novel Silver Sparrow? Okay, the novel has been narrated from the point of view of the two characters. Yes, this is true. Shoris and Dana. It says that the novel splits into two halves midway, right? One is narrated from Shoris's point of view, and one part is from Dana's view. The novelist has made some sharp observation about young women and the way they survive on the journey to adulthood. This could be it. This seems like the plot of the novel is set in Atlanta during the 1980s. Yes, this is also true. It says that there is a part homage to Atlanta. So this is also given. The two sisters at the center of the novel's plot are unaware of each other's existence until they reach adulthood. Are they unaware of each other's existence? At least Donna knows of Shoris. Shoris doesn't know of her, but Donna does. Right? So this is not true. So this is my correct option. In the first paragraph, why does the author use phrase slim satisfaction to describe Dana's knowledge of Shoris's existence? To point out that Dana is relieved that her parents have not lied to her? No. This could not provide her slim satisfaction. Right? To emphasize that bitter solace that Dana gets from being the one with greater knowledge of the situation as compared to her half sister Shoris, against the resentment she carries for being her father's secret child, receiving less of everything than Shoris. Yes, this could be. So her sister is getting everything, all the privileges, while she only gets to know that the other sister exists. So this could give her a little satisfaction or slim satisfaction, to put it, to indicate that only young Dana derives a sense of silent companionship from. No, this is completely irrelevant, outright irrelevant. To point out the satisfaction Dana experienced when she find out that her father got her and Shoris identical fur coats. This was discussed much later in the passage before stating this slim satisfaction. So this also, despite being true, cannot be my answer. Hence my correct option is option number 2. Which one of the following accurately summarizes the last paragraph? Okay, what the last paragraph was about? Okay, maybe this was supposed to be last paragraph. The novel deserves its acclaim because it movingly captures the universal theme of marriage and family. Okay, but this seems like this is not an apt summary. Like, this does not involve everything which was supposed to be involved. The novel deserves its acclaim because it's the coming of age story of two unique young women. How are the unique young women? Right? It is a story of every young woman, not two unique young women. So this is wrong. Why am I saying that it is a story of every two young women and not some unique young women? Because it tells about the struggle which all the young women goes through, right? The novel calibrates the story of two distinct and unique characters with larger and universal themes of precarious female adolescence, marriage and family. Okay, this seems good. This seems a better summary over this. This is more elaborative. Let's keep this. The novel's penetrating observation about young women and the way they navigate adolescence is the reason for its. Is this the reason for its well-deserved acclaim? No, this is not the reason, right? The reason is that it is moving, intimate, and wise. Just like an American, it's just as good as that. That is why it deserves similar acclaim. Just because it has some observations about young women, this is not the sole reason why it should be praised just as much as an American marriage. So this is also wrong. Hence, third is my correct option. Which of the following cannot be inferred about Shoris? Okay, Shoris was the other sister, stepsister. Her life had its share of anguish and distress. It just happened to be different from Dana's, as she was not kept a secret by their father. Okay, this is true. This is true about Shoris. She was aware about her father's dual life, but she hid that knowledge from everyone. How can you guess that Shoris knew about her father's dual life? It has been clearly stated in the passage that only Donna knew about her father's other life. Shoris did not. So this cannot be inferred from the passage, and this is my correct option. Let's just read the other option. She was intensely lonely while growing up, and loneliness was one of the reasons which drew her towards Donna. Okay, this can also not be said. She thought of Dana as beautiful and felt strongly drawn to her because she thought of Dana's life and circle as completely different from her own. Okay, this also can be inferred. We are talking about something which cannot be inferred. So 2 and 3 both are a little far-fetched inference. We don't know if she knew about her father's dual life and she hid that from everyone, and neither do we know that she was intensely lonely and everything. Let's just go through it again a bit. Okay, this talks about overlapping loneliness. So yeah, this is also true. This can also be inferred that she was lonely, so she was drawn towards Dana.